on the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa men's basketball will have a new look to it when the season tips off Friday, October 25th against Minnesota Duluth in an exhibition game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Welcome to the Fight for Iowa podcast. The Hawkeyes won 19 games last season, which left them short of an NCAA tournament berth. Utah eliminated Iowa in the second round of the NIT. Coach Fran McCaffrey had some holes to fill when son Patrick, a 6'10 forward, and guards Tony Perkins and Desante Bowen transferred out. All Big Ten junior Peyton Sanford was a threat to leave for the NBA, but withdrew his name after the tryout process, saying his heart was still in Iowa City and that he really likes the team Coach McCaffrey has put together. Sanford, at 6'7" and 215 pounds, put up career-best numbers across the board last season, averaging 16.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and nearly 3 assists, while shooting 44% from the field and 38% from three. He sank 91% of his free throws. McCaffrey feels spending a month in NBA tryouts and scrimmages has positioned Sanford for a rewarding final season with the Hawkeyes.
Somebody goes through the process, that's a distinct possibility, right? Remember Joe Wieskamp? We always talk about him. He had the option to come back. He shot 7 for 8 in the first competitive game at the Combine. He also measured well. I mean, there were a number of things that happened in a positive way. And then he had a solid offer on the table, so then he was gone. Peyton also had solid offers on the table, but none that I think would have drawn him away from this program or this opportunity to do something special, and then also, as I've said many times, bet on himself to move into the first round. He's always been a guy that moves incredibly well without the ball. He's sort of nonstop motion. He sprints the floor in transition. He really works hard defensively. He rebounds well. So he tries to impact the game in a number of different ways. We saw him get a triple-double last year. So I do think he's making a concerted effort to sort of be that guy. He's always been a great shooter. When he was sixth man of the year in the league, he was really special with his three-point shooting in particular, but he knows in order to make the NBA, in order to help this team be what it could be, we need him to be an all-league player in all facets, and that's what he's going to be. He was a really good rebounder last year. He's a really special offensive rebounder. And a lot of shooters just don't do that. They hang around on the perimeter, and that's that. Throw me the ball, and I'll shoot it in the hole for you. He does that, but he's done more off the dribble. He's done more passing to open people and reading situations, which is what you would expect from a senior. Think about him. He's freshman year, he played a lot. He's on a Big Ten championship team. Sophomore year, he's a rookie of the year in the league. Last year, led the league in made threes. Was an all-league player. So now I think, how do you go from being a second or third team all-league player to first team? Obviously it's consistency of effort and performance, and nobody's going to work harder.
Sanford spent time in pro camps in New Jersey and Las Vegas and came away further educated about the game.
The biggest thing I learned from the NBA process was every guy in the NBA thinks they're the best player in the world, which is, what carries them, a lot of them so far, is because everyone in the NBA, outside of the LeBrons and the KDs of the world, have pretty similar skill sets and, pretty similar opportunities. So it's whoever can, be confident in that and really be confident every day, which is, a really hard thing to do with the ups and downs of seasons and workouts and everything like that. So, just being confident in everything I do, I think will carry me the furthest.
Well said. Yeah, when you punch that time clock, you're on a company time. And
Absolutely.
So what about the rest of the boardroom here, your teammates? How do you feel? It looks like a deep team.
Yeah, it's a really deep team. A lot of guys are really working hard. I've been unbelievably impressed with, the way that practices have been consistent. I think it's really hard in, this 6-week period where we're just practicing every day, 3 hours, to keep that energy. It becomes kind of a lull, but, people are competing, people are fighting for spots, and, there's a ton of good players. I don't even know what we're going to do with the lineups yet, but, I'm really excited. A bunch of guys have made huge jumps that are younger, and, it's going to be a fun team.
How about the Big Ten? It's such a great league to compete in. You should be motivated here every day.
Absolutely. Top to bottom, it's as good as I think you're going to find in the country. The Big 12 has a ton of really good teams at the top, but there's a few games you can just go on the road and win. But in this league, every game is a dogfight. If you don't bring it on a night, you're going to get exposed, you're going to get beat, and I mean, that's the way it is. But I feel confident in our ability to compete in this league. The way that we brought it in practice is going to be essential to bringing it, especially when we're on the road in the Big Ten, and I'm excited for the opportunities.
Sanford is a comfortable three-level shooter who led the Big Ten and made threes. And if he's Mr. Outside, then 6'10 center Owen Freeman is Mr. Interior. The returning Big Ten co-freshman of the year put up 10.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and a couple block shots a game in his debut. McCaffrey sees a lot of the same things in Freeman he and his staff developed out of Luka Garza, the Murray twins, and Joe Wieskamp. But Freeman is just getting started.
He's a special young guy in so many different ways, and he's incredibly talented, but he also recognizes that there's room for growth and wants to get better. So for him, it started in the weight room, but then it also, morphed into doing more off the bounce, doing more from the perimeter as a shooter. I used to tell him, even when he was in high school, to look for his shot more. Flash to the high post, catch, turn, and face, and shoot it. Shoot the foul line jumper. That sets up your shot fake drive, because he's a shot fake drive, one dribble dunk guy from there. So he really worked hard on his shot on his own time. I mean, he worked very closely with Kirk Spearall, just on their own. And then, of course, with our coaches as well. But he got it in this summer. And you're seeing a dramatic difference, because a lot of times it's not necessarily form or technique. It's confidence. And then knowing that your coach has the confidence in you to shoot the ball. He's not going to encourage you to shoot the ball, then you shoot and miss, then he tells you not to shoot. Well, you're never going to be a good shooter. So I've been encouraging him since he was 15 years old. And you'll see a guy with a more complete game this year and be even more dominant.
Freeman spent a generous portion of the summer working out with Luka Garza.
I think just getting out there with these new guys and kind of the new attitude that we have towards everything. Obviously, the NIT was a great tournament, but we want to make a deep run in March Madness, so we kind of use it as fuel. So I'm excited to really go out there with that fuel and that energy that we have behind us.
I know you put on some muscle in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, what part of your game has drawn the most attention to where improvement is needed?
I think obviously just that confidence and that jump shot in the mid range and the 3-point line. So that was definitely a huge step that I needed to take, and definitely in my ball handling, my playmaking abilities.
Fran said catch, turn, and shoot, and shot, fake, and drive.
I mean, yeah, no, those have been huge parts of my game. I put in a lot of work doing it, so you're going to see a lot of that this season.
What did you learn most about your freshman year and getting acclimated to this level?
It's an everyday grind. I mean, you can't take a day off. I mean, night in, night out. I mean, I feel like it's a different monster on every team. So, but I've kind of learned that I belong here. I'm like basically my own monster type thing. So I just got to go out and continue to play my game, be confident in the abilities God's blessed me with.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
From coin flip to final whistle, show your diehard passion for your Iowa Hawkeyes all season long with your favorite black and gold gear from Shields. Bring your best this year, whether you're cheering from Niall Kinnick Stadium or from your living room with your favorite jerseys, hats, collectibles, and Hawkeyes branded gear from the Shields Fan Shop. Visit us at your local Shields or Shields.com and let's cheer on the Hawkeyes. Shields, proud partner of Iowa athletics and football fans everywhere.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment. Knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
With Sanford and Freeman steering the ship, Fran McCaffrey needs all hands on deck. With guards Josh Dix and Brock Harding, forwards Evan Bronze, Price Sanford, and Laji Dembele, and newcomers Cooper Koch, Drew Thelwell, and Seydou Traore, McCaffrey likes that forecast.
We expect to be really good. We expect to win a lot of games. We expect to go to the NCAA tournament. We expect to contend night in and night out in a very difficult league. It's unique in the sense that, a lot of coaches really don't know a lot about the other teams, especially the ones that have 8 or 9 new players. So we'll get into it and we'll figure it out. I legitimately have 13 guys I feel comfortable playing, and playing a number of them in different positions, relying on them to be productive in those different positions because they're smart and they've been around. There's a little bit of a learning curve with our new guys, the 2 freshmen and 2 transfers. But everybody else has been here. So I feel very comfortable. You're in a late game situation. You've got to run a press attack. You don't have a timeout. You run a side OB. You're running your late game package. All of those guys can run that effectively without having to take a timeout and explain it over and over. But you can't make mistakes, and you got to execute. So if you're running sets, if you're running out of bounds plays, if you're protecting a lead, you can't turn it over. You got to make sure the right people are getting fouled. If you're fouling them, you're fouling the right people. No time and score. Know if you're in the bonus, if they're in the bonus, if you're in the double bonus or not. You have timeouts left. So, everybody thinks, if you're 10 and 20 or 20 and 10, one team's good, one team stinks. Fine line. You got to win 5-point games, 2-possession games. And that comes down to intellect.
That intellect will be put to the test when Iowa opens the season for real, Monday, November 4th, against Texas A&M Commerce in Iowa City. The Hawks play Washington State in the John Deere Quad Cities Hoops Classic in Moline on November 18th. And Iowa State visits Carver Hawkeye Arena December 12th. To football, Hawkeye defensive lineman Aaron Graves is Big Ten Code Defensive Player of the Week following his outstanding effort against Washington Saturday. Graves forced 2 fumbles, had 2 sacks, and 5 total tackles. Graves and Iowa rolled to a 40-16 victory over the Huskies and stand 4-2 on the year, 2-1 in the conference. The Hawkeyes' offensive line this week was named to the midseason honor roll for the Joe Moore Award. It honors offensive line units that display a high level of toughness, effort, teamwork, consistency, technique, and finishing. Iowa's running game has gained 200 or more yards in 4 of the team's 6 games. That's the Fight for Iowa podcast this week. I'm Gary Dolphin. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.